Well, welcome to another edition of the full 80 minutes with myself, Mick, the game caller Gleddle, and Mr. Craig, Show Me the Money Harrison, on Show Me the Money Rugby League TV. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, share and support the show. We're back every week from now on until evermore. Well, Craig, good to have you here again. Before we start the show, we have a very, very special prize to give away for this week's show, because we have a very special guest and a very special interview coming up with none other than Wakefield Trinity player David Fafita. And the question is somewhat different this week. We're going to ask you, because it is the Challenge Cup semi-final, it is the Women's Challenge Cup final, it's the triple header at Ellen Road this weekend on Saturday. It's St Helens against Leeds, the women's final at 12, at 2:30. It's the big one, the big derby between Wigan and St Helens, and then at 5 o'clock, it's Hulkington Rovers against the Huddersfield Giants. All we're wanting you to do on the comments on YouTube to be with a chance of winning this, which has been kindly supplied by the England kit sponsors, which is Oxen Sports. There's a shirt, there's a shorts, there's socks. David Fafita's going to sign them. So
well, we haven't checked that. There might be socks. I don't. Yeah.
There's definitely a shirt and there's definitely shirt and shorts there, and obviously Oxen, of course, as we know, they are the England kit suppliers. So this is a very unique, special prize that we're going to give away to one of our lucky competition winners. All you need to do to win a chance of winning this fantastic prize is predict the three winners. Is it going to be Leeds or St Helens in the women's final? Will it be Leeds or St Helens in semi-final number one? Or will it be Huddersfield?
Did you just say Leeds and St Helens in the semi-final?
No, I said Leeds and St Helens in the women's final. I said Wigan and St Helens in the semi-final. I'll have to watch it back, Vix.
I think Sam knows the answer to that one, he said.
So yes, the women's final, Leeds St Helens, the first semi-final, Wigan St Helens, and then the second semi-final, Huddersfield Hulk. You've got to get all three predictions right, and then we will put you in the draw. And look, this is going to be fantastic. Money can't buy. David Fafita's going to sign it, and it's going to be a great prize for somebody who, of course, watches, subscribes, and supports the show. So yeah, hopefully, that's got you excited. And there you go, Craig.
Thank you, Michael.
So yeah, we're back. Another busy week. We've put the tweet out. We've put the Facebook post out. We've got a heck of a lot of questions and comments, which I'll go through. But before we start, Craig, we'll put a little bit of focus on these Challenge Cup semi-finals at Ellen Road. You're looking forward to them. You're going to be in the hospitality, in the old Show Me the Money box. I mean,
I've got a box, Michael. I've managed to get two seats, so there's only two for us. I might take Joe Me or whatever. We'll see what happens.
Well, my phone's here. And
apologies, by the way. Joe Me's on a driving lesson today. As Joe Me passed his test in America, we're driving round in a Mustang, thinking he was a Starsky and Hutch, and he's forgot to get his licence passed in the UK. So Joe Me's on his last lesson. His test is next week, Mick.
Oh, well, best of luck, Joe.
Best of luck, Joe.
Best of luck, Joe, from everyone. But Craig, moving on to the semi-finals. Quite contrast, really, because you've got two form teams in St Helens and Wigan, and then you've got two teams that, despite Huddersfield still picking up wins, they had the draw against Leeds, they had a good performance against Catalans, they had a real sort of attritional kind of game against Wakefield on Thursday night, but they got the job done. Hulkington Rovers have a little bit of a purple patch after, I think it was 4 games on the bounce. But look, let's just start. The big one, obviously, is going to be Matty Pete against Christian Wolf. Wigan against St Helens. We know that they met a couple of weeks ago on Good Friday, and St Helens, in my opinion, thoroughly outclassed Wigan by 22 points to 4. It could have been a little bit more on the day. What does Matty Pete, Lee Breers, and the rest of his coaching staff, Sean O'Loughlin, I think, is also there on the coaching staff. What do Matty Pete and the coaching staff have to do, Craig? Because obviously, St Helens, the white hot at this moment in time.
Listen, back to your first thing. I was at the Leeds Hull KR game on Friday. It was a bad game, Mick. Leeds got the result.
I've not seen anything of that. You can tell me about that.
No, it's not telling. I'm just it was a poor game for me, poor standard. Hull KR didn't have the mind on it. Leeds got the result because they out-enthused them, but they want much play. But they got the result, and Leeds are definitely, effort-wise, are really into it. The crowd were right behind them. The fans were right behind them. Hull KR were shocking, in my opinion. I think probably give Tony and the staff a lot to work on, which is brilliant, building up to the Challenge Cup semi-final. So you probably don't mind that. I know you want to win every game, but actually your coaching mantra is brilliant because you're angry. You're like, we can't put a performance like that. The big news for that one, Mick, is whether Coots makes it. The word is, you know, he got an head knock. I don't know whether that thing, that'll be massive for Hull KR if Coots doesn't play, but then it gives opportunity to Will Dagger. So selfishly, I'm probably looking at that. The rest of 3 players, Mick, Kane Lynette, Kenny Dowell and Jez Litton, 3 pivotal players for them. So I think them coming back in will make a massive difference. Huddersfield play a certain way and it works for them, and the percentage and the high completion, and then they play a bit of stuff off that. They're kicking, you know, I think they kick a lot. If you watch their halves, they get a lot of field position, and other than score exciting tries, they'll keep you in there, and then they'll weigh down, then Ian Watson has a belief then that they can get over you. Their pack is outstanding, in my opinion. Their pack get over Hull KR early, it'll be all over. That's how I see it. I think Hull KR have got to stay in the game for first half an hour, Mick, and then they've got a chance because they'll let them on break when they're tired. But I think if Huddersfield grip the game and play their rugby, Huddersfield will win that by 10-12. But I think if Hull KR are in the game at half-time, Hull KR will come out and it'll be exciting. I apologise because you asked me about the Wigan game and I've talked about...
It's fine.
Sorry.
We're previewing them both as quickly at the start.
And then over to the Wigan game, you asked me, what do I think Matty Pete, Lee Breeze? I don't think they have to do anything. I think they got outplayed last time because St Helens had another gear. They had another gear to go to when that game got tasty. I think there were a couple of confrontations in the game. Smithies gripped Morgan Knowles. And I thought, what a clash this is. 2 of the best exciting loose forwards in the game. Morgan Smithies playing outstanding at the moment for his age. He's 3-4 years younger than Morgan Knowles. So, you know, it's incredible. Morgan Knowles, we all know what we think of him. So he's just a lion. He's a proper player. And then there were a couple I watched, there were just little bits going off. Brad Singleton put a shot on and he was standing. I think if Wigan could learn more from that game than Saints, I think Wigan look back and say, when they went up another gear, Tommy Makinson and the outside backs, what can we do field position-wise to stop that happening? Do you understand that? Mm. So if you get your kick's not good enough and Tommy Mack and their backs come onto it, they're going to ruin you. They're too quick round ruck. I think Wigan need to finish their sets in better positions, restrict the penalties, and that will then give them a chance to lay a platform to see the most exciting player we've had in Super League for me, Jai. You know,
Field, yeah.
He is absolutely box office. And again, if you're a sports fan, a rugby league fan, go and watch it live. Go and, you know, we just done a little preview, but let's make it exciting. Some of these players on show, Mick, are going to be the world class. You can't use that a lot in things. We've got some world class talents here. You know, people say, oh yeah, he didn't make it in NRL. Listen, the NRL clubs are all on for him. Because he's shown here what he's doing. They're going, wow, I cannot believe. So he'll have more interest from Union, Rugby League, NRL, everybody. We've got some of the best young players in the world on show here. We've got some unbelievable talents. John Bateman went over to NRL and killed it. So you go and watch. What is it? You know, you look at it. You probably get a ticket for 20 quid to watch it all day. For £20, you can watch 3 games and some of the best talents in this sport from all over the world. Let's make it a massive occasion. I'm going to predict mine. I think... Oh, God. I've got to be careful here because we've got quite a lot of players in that.
No,
I fancy Wigan. I fancy Wigan. I know. I fancy Wigan. I'm selfish because young Dodds not playing and I'm thinking he has a real... I love what he's been doing and I think they'll miss that. And I think... I don't know if... I can't separate the other one, Mick. I genuinely can't separate Huddersfield Hull KR. I cannot get where I think if Huddersfield get an high completion, they'll win. I think if Hull KR can stay in that game, they've got the talent and the individuals to get them through it. Hull KR by 2.
Wigan by
8.
Wow.
Big call.
Wow.
Do I get a chance to go for that kit signed off the bopper if we... yeah, I've subscribed anyway.
Well, it's interesting because Wigan had a test away at Warrington on Friday night, and I must admit, I was watching it live, and I was like, wow. When it got to 34-10, 40 points to 10, you just got to marvel at what Manny Pete has done. Now, I remember when last year I broke the news on Twitter saying Manny Pete's going to be going, and there was uproar from Wigan fans. They were like, hang on a second, who's Matty Pete? Because although he'd achieved so much success with the academy, he still wasn't a familiar name, Craig, if that makes sense, outside of Wigan circles. So there was a lot of like, who is this Matty Pete and what has he done? But you look at what he's done, Sean O'Loughlin, Lee Breers, the attractive style of play that we're going to play in now, you know, it's a complete contrast to how they were playing under Adrian Lamb last year. And you look at it and you're like, you can see the confidence building. This is clearly a side that is building and building and building. And yes, they did get beat by St Helens 22 points to 4, quite convincingly the other week. But this is a very different Wigan side 3 weeks on. And I think they're only going to go from strength to strength, Craig. I'm not quite sure we're going to see Wigan by 8. I still think when you've got your James Roby's out there, you've got that experience.
Lomax, Walmsley.
Yeah, you've still got that experience, those big game players. What I will say is, I'm not sitting on the fence because I'm going to go St Helens and Huddersfield to win, so I'm going directly opposite you. But I will say this: there'll be less than 10 points, less than 2 tries in each game. But I will say Huddersfield, just because, like you say, with the forwards laying that platform. I know Hulkington Rovers have got the 3 pivots back, and I know they'll be hurting after what you've described as a very flat and disappointing performance against Leeds on Friday. But, like I say, I'm not just saying St Helens and Huddersfield to go against you, but those are my tips.
I like the matchups. I think Rowan and Jordan are quite big time players. I think you might that's what might spring it for me. I think they've got Jez Litton. I think they've got. I mean, Mikey's not playing. Wow, if he, the semi-finals are made for Mikey Lewis, aren't they?
He'd
have put 10,000 on gate to watch, him.
Little chip over the top, playing what he sees. I can just picture it now.
And the thing is, but I think we're in for some cracking games, and the winner should be Rugby League, Mick, because we get a chance to go Tottenham Hotspur in the final, and again,
at the end of the month.
If we don't back these games, Mick, and get people to them, they won't be here going forward.
Correct.
And I know you're going to do a little bit after this on some things about, what IMG, and they're going to try and promote the sport and how, and hopefully we work together. But we've all got to, I keep saying this, you can get your little things on social media and your comments and your negativity, but unless you're promoting the sport positively, you're as bad. You're one of them. So you've got to promote it. You can't become what they are saying. Oh, they don't do this, they don't do that. Well, you don't. So if you don't want to go and watch a match or promote rugby league in a positive manner, join the Nego Club.
No, I agree.
You go right to negativity and talk about it and moan about it, but then you sat on your... Most of the people who are moaning, Mick, don't go to matches.
Correct. Can
you imagine that? Can you imagine moaning and you're stood there, you're going, crap this, crap crowd, crap this, don't like standard. Well, when last time you went to a game? I agree. Well, I've been to a live game for 2 years. So you're commenting on a sport that you have no founding with. And do you know what? Here's the thing for RFL, I'll give you a tip. Find out how many of the people who you're scared of, and the clubs are very wary of social media comments now, negativity towards the club. Write to them, please, for me. Get your Twitter and say to them on the do you come to our ground? Are you a season ticket? Man, do you pay any subscription? Do you buy anything marketing? Do you ask them on the social media? Because if they don't, don't talk to them. If they don't, just delete. Yeah. Because why would you have somebody on your account who's only bringing bad vibes? So again, all clubs in RFL, just say to them, do any of you put anything in? Do you coach amateur? Do you go and watch amateur rugby league? Do you go and watch junior rugby league? Do you take your kid to camps? Do you do something? If you don't do anything, don't comment.
Yeah, I agree.
Simple as.
I agree. And don't react to them. Like I say, I keep saying this time and time again, rugby league and the parochial nature of some of the fan base is its own worst enemy. So that is what has happened for this weekend. Craig, just a little bit on that Leeds Hulkington Rovers game. You were there. I've not seen anything of it. I was a little bit surprised by the 12-0 score when I saw it on Friday evening. Have Leeds turned the corner now?
No, Rowan's got a big job.
he obviously arrived in the country.
And it's a bit disrespectful to Agard, to Rich, to say, oh, have they turned the corner? Because, you know, the staff were there with Rich. You know, it's the same staff other than Rich. Rich won a Challenge Cup. So, till they win a Challenge Cup or done something, they've not done anything better. Do you get me?
Yeah, no, I agree.
So Rich finished whatever in the league and they won a Challenge Cup, and, you know, whatever happened this year, it didn't go right for me. I didn't like some of the signings. I said that publicly, but that's my opinion. Rich and Leeds might have an opinion on me and say, well, you don't, you know, I get it. That's what we're all here for. They've definitely not turned a corner. I'll tell you now. They hit that wall. What I find fascinating in it, and it's a lesson, an humbling lesson I've had, Mark Grattan, me once discussed about entertainment against the result. I hope Mark don't mind me saying his name. I hope he don't. He's a good friend of mine. And Mark said the result comes first, Craig, because the fans and the town love the result.
Look at the result. Yeah.
I've probably lived in a bit of fancy wanting to watch the rugby and see it as a product.
Yeah.
Well, I saw the Leeds fans clapping for 10 minutes after the game, rejoicing. All the players did a lap, and everybody's like, and I'm sat there like, that's one of the worst games of rugby I've watched. But everybody's bouncing off the wall because Leeds have got their well-earned...
They're now out of the bottom two.
A couple of beers on way home, they're happy. Now, I'm probably a connoisseur. I'm maybe looking for that perfect wine and steak. And so I genuinely didn't enjoy the game. In fact, Mick, I watched the game on Thursday, the Wakefield game.
Oh,
I loved it. Oh, no, see, there you go.
I
absolutely loved it. I love the completion, the wrestle,
the attritional, nature of it. Yeah,
maybe I'm looking again. I'm not. You know, and I really enjoyed. I think they went set for set. They did. It was really, and none of them dare up and up. And I get you what you're saying.
Really attritional and down the middle.
You're probably looking for a bit more, but you know, I loved it. I loved what was strong at that, Mick. And again, I just didn't like I think the Leeds our game. I wouldn't say completion rates one, Mick, but it was shocking. The penalties were shocking. Yeah. The referee were involved a lot in the game. They didn't see many bad tackles. I'll be honest, I enjoyed the York match on Monday more.
Yeah.
You know, I watched the Premier Sports York Barra match. Thought it was a fantastic championship. I thought
good product. The championship.
Some of the rugby were great, and I enjoyed the arm wrestle. The young lad from Barra when he put the feet on. I mean, that is mighty to fight. That was. How many wingers in today's game dare take the outside?
Well, like I say, he is blessed with a lot of speed.
No, you didn't answer that. How many wingers?
Very few.
Probably what, 3, 2?
Yeah.
Bevan?
Yeah.
Bevan?
Yeah.
That young lad from Barra?
Yeah.
Could you see many more who dare go banging on outside?
Well, you don't, do you? You don't see it, Craig.
So I'm challenging the wingers out there.
You don't see
Honestly, why dare you go outside? If the coaches are that negative that you're going to go in touch and the pressure's on you not to take the outside, well, that's terrible because there's always space on outside. The best wingers in history, your Billy Bostons, your Lewis George, whatever, you know, I'm not Lewis, all the, what were they called at Warrington, the Flyer, all the best wingers, Martin Fire, you've had some, Mick. Your man would have gone through them, never mind round them. What it for Cola?
Well, to be fair to Leslie Fanicolo, he was just full steam ahead.
Full steam ahead.
To beat a Vicona before.
But they dare take the outside, and maybe... Here's one, if you're going to take the outside, and we don't use enough handoffs now, Mick.
No.
So they should be taught to carry it left, and if you're going to go out, fend left and carry right, work on your technique. Yeah. Well, let's see some wingers taking outside on.
Yeah, totally agree. Hull FC, Craig, just quickly, big resounding win against Toulouse. Obviously, Hull FC doing it tough with injuries, but they're building consistency all of a sudden. They had the win against Warrington, they've now... they beat the Catalan Dragons. They beat Toulouse.
Big pack, mate. Big pack. And if they get you and strangle you, they'll beat you. I mean, I keep laughing at Gaelic. I said every time you don't play, they win. So that's not great for his negotiations this year. But he loves it. They all love it. Young Jack Brown's playing out of his skin. Scott Taylor come back this week. I thought it was great. Yeah. Jordan Lane, one of my picks for the dream team. If he carries on, I want him to perform to the highest level. Mick, Hull are all right. If Hull get you, Hull are like Huddersfield, I think. Yeah. If they get you.
The pack, the physicality, it's like suffocating, squeezing, yes.
And then they can play off that. They've got the Jake Connors, the players to play off that game. Huddersfield are very much alike. I think if they get you and you play their game, so great. But worry for Toulouse because...
Well, we know Corey Norman. There's talk that they're going to be bringing in more NRL
But is it too late?
No, I don't think it is too late.
Who do they get then? Salford. Who else is going to be there?
If you want my honest opinion
Wakey.
now we're sort of like a third way through the season.
Let me have a look at the league table here. Let's have a look how many points we've got.
There's 4 points between Toulouse and Wakefield, Craig.
So you've got Toulouse on 2.
To be perfectly honest, if you're asking me now, Leeds will not be anywhere near the bottom. They will be pushing for the playoffs once Rowan Smith comes in and stamps his sort of style, which Leeds fans, by the way, you're going to love the Rowan Smith style of play. If you think the Matty Pete attractive flair and flamboyance and pizzazz that the Warriors are playing, wait till you see what Rowan Smith does. But to me now, you've got one from three. Salford, Wakefield, Toulouse. It'll be one of those three that goes down. Wow. The crucial thing for Toulouse is they've still got to play Wakefield and Salford at home. I messaged Cedric Garcia, who's a very good friend of mine from when Toulouse, obviously, were in League One and then the Championship, and obviously when Bradford have gone over there and we've had to sort out commentary requirements. You know, they're not panicking. Sylvan Ulis and Cedric Garcia. Toulouse aren't panicking, Craig. They are not panicking one bit because they know they've got some huge games coming up against those teams in and around them. And I still say this, you know, yes, as we find out with Catalans, they've come over here, they've lost at Hull, they've lost at St Helens, they've lost at Huddersfield. Catalans managed to rectify that last year. Obviously, they've gone a little bit backward now this year with injuries and the suspensions. But the key for Toulouse and their Super League survival is they have to beat those teams in and around them. So you're probably putting Warrington in there, Castleford. You're probably putting Hulkinston Rovers in there, Salford. But like I say, they lost narrowly to Hulkinston Rovers the other week, 28 points to 24. So they lost 29-28 to Wigan. So you can see, Craig, it's not like, yes, they got beat by 46 points on Saturday at Hull. But at home, that's going to be the key. But if they can beat Wakefield in a week's time when they play each other down there, that is huge because Wakefield are stuck on 6, Toulouse are on 4, and before you know it, Craig, you're only down to 2 games. 2 points.
Yeah, I get it. I still think it's a tough gig. They've got 2 points. The others have got 6. Wakefield look on a downward thing. Salford are definitely on a downward scope, but I still think Salford have got enough quality at home to get results. Yep. Stop yawning, Mick. You've been out clubbing last night. What you can't do, Mick, is say your bit and then yawn at my bit.
I'm not yawning at your bit.
It's one of the rudest things I've ever seen. So we've got... I think Toulouse would have to get 12 points to stay up. That means they're going to win 5.
Probably more, Craig.
Right, probably going to win 5 or 6 games. I can't see them beating... They'd have to get them 6 games at home. They've only got 6 games left at home, so they'd have to win nearly every game at home from now on.
Correct, yes.
So I think it's impossible.
Well, I think there'll be drama. I think if Wakefield beat Toulouse next week when they play, I think it's...
Is it at Wakey?
No, it's at Toulouse.
Oh, yeah, I get you.
That's what I'm saying, Craig.
That'll be 4.
That's one of the big games of the season-defining games for mine.
Well, I've got Bopper coming for his Davies.
You can ask him.
And that's one of the questions we'll say. Are you feeling the heat?
You can ask him about it.
I don't know.
You can ask him about it. I mean, like I say, Craig, there's no panic from Sylvan Ulis and said.
Do you know what? The worst thing is one of them go down to Championship, and if we have another year before we go to Super League A and B, if that's what's going to happen, we think that's going to happen. So you've got another year. One of Toulouse going. Who would it affect the most? Toulouse going to Championship. They've been there before. They probably could keep a lot of the squad. And they'll probably spend more to get back up. Wakey and Salford would be problems. I think Wakey going down would be a tough gig to wouldn't spend $1 million on the cap to get back up. But they probably would get a Super League A or B licence, definitely. Salford will probably get an A or B licence. Yeah. Toulouse would probably get... I think the Rugby League would want Toulouse to get an A licence.
Potentially.
Politically.
Potentially. I mean... Look, we've had a lot of questions this week about how it's going to work the 210s, and we can only go on what the RFL have told the clubs. And at the risk of repeating myself again, they put the slides up, did Ralph and Karen, and the slides effectively said that how they plan to get to the 210s is by cutting Super League down from 12 to 10, and then obviously the Championship is going to go from 14 to 10. So if... what I am picking up from...
I'm going to say a big if here, because we don't know, Mick. There might be nothing
that's why I'm putting a huge emphasis.
This is your opinion.
Yes, I'm putting a huge emphasis and highlighting the if. If
Sam, our producer, should just say, Mick, if.
Yeah, I said if what I'm picking up from Championship and a couple of Super League chairmen is correct in that this is all going to come out in June at a big meeting, because the clubs have been told, ever since COVID, Ralph has told the clubs, we've got to regenerate, we've got to reform, we've got to realign, we've got to
He's right, by the way. He's right.
Yeah, correct. Because the current pyramid and the structure, I don't think it works. It's not to the betterment.
Well, I'll just read out.
Rather, it's more to the detriment of the sport.
I'll read out some, and I'm big on positivity, so I don't like negativities. But I'm going to read out some crowds over the weekend. So are you ready? And we'll go through all the divisions, Mick, just to give you an idea, if you're watching, about what you think, and if you're saying you don't want no change, this might help you get a reason.
Yeah.
So, Catalans, I'll let you do that, but you're better than me at all that. You just read out, and it's all there. So this is.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Reflectively, every crowd, Mick, don't fudge it, and don't put Bradford, and don't want to. I know what you like here, Bradford with this.
Ooh.
Just tell it as it is from the top.
Well, Catalan Castleford 6,000.
Sorry, slow that down.
Catalans versus Castleford 6,000, so that's down on what they normally get.
Wow.
Hull FC against Toulouse 11,000. That's about average for them. Leeds Hulkinston Rovers, the highest attended game of this weekend, 13,000. St Helens against Salford, slightly down, 10,000. Wakefield against Huddersfield, 3,000.
Sorry.
Yeah, Wakefield versus Huddersfield, 3,166. That's not a Super League crowd for mine, if I'm being brutally honest. IMG, when they come in and they look to take control, they will.
So Huddersfield obviously don't take a lot away then, because
correct.
And Wakey down on there.
Yeah. That's not an attendance that'll please Michael Carter. Warrington, Wigan, 10,000, just over 10,000. Obviously, Hull FC played Catalans on last Sunday, and that was 9,100. In the Championship, it was Bradford against Featherstone on the Monday. That was 4,000, which is a respectable crowd considering it was on a Monday night. Featherstone versus Widnes on Sunday, 4,300.
Whoa. Featherstone, Bradford. Featherstone got more crowd than Featherstone, Bradford. Am I hearing what you've just said right?
Yes. But the Bradford-Featherstone game was on the Monday, so it's on TV as well. Whether or not you want to say yay or nay. Listen,
wow.
Featherstone are actually getting more fans than Wakefield and Salford at the minute.
Wow.
Bradford had over 5,000 for their game.
No, but about the Bradford Mafia, I thought they'd have come with thousands.
Oh.
The Bradford-Featherstone game got less than the...
What, for the Monday night game?
Yeah.
It's on TV, and there was a bit of apathy against John Kieran the way the side were playing.
All right, there's a bit of political stuff.
There's a lot of stay-away fans for that game. Lee against Sheffield, 2,400. London against Dewsbury, that was 600. Newcastle against Halifax, that was 800. Whitehaven against Bradford, that was 1,100. Workington Town against Batley Bulldogs, no attendance were given for that one. And then we drop down to League One, Craig, and there's quite a couple of respectable attendances. Doncaster versus Oldham, 1,095.
Go on,
Keighley against London, 1,100. Midland Hurricanes against Dunslet, 253. And North Wales Crusaders in the All Welsh Derby, 503. And Cornwall, Rochdale, 903.
So you're going to be careful with crowds. I can remember when I were at Donny, I can remember once going to announce the crowd and people went, whoa, don't announce that, it's too less, you can't do that, it looks bad for everybody. And I was like, what do you mean? We're announcing who's here and it's attendance. And I didn't realise how, it were what, like, oh my God, if you said there's only so many here, but I said, we've got to know that to improve.
Yeah.
Got to know what we're getting. It's not good saying 1,000 if you're getting 500.
No, I agree.
And I have a little story about that. So we famously played in the Challenge Cup. I'm not saying famously, but it was my first Challenge Cup game as an owner. We went to play Carnegie at Leeds Rhinos. We played the Carnegie
university team.
And we turned up and I didn't really know how it worked. And I sat in the stand and I thought there was 600-800 there. We took quite a few Donny fans and the college people were there. But I'm sat in the stand, and at the end of the game, we won quite easily, and everyone's happy. And then the great GH come to me and said, it's very traditional for you to get your cheque for your half of the gate receipts straight after the game. Oh, brilliant, Gary! I'll see you for a cup of tea, son, and you can pay me.
Before you tell me what you actually got, what were you thinking at that moment in time? Be honest.
On my lie, I thought if there's 800 in. and it's 20 quid a pop, 15 quid. I thought I'm in for 4 or 5K to put back in the coffers to cover. Anyway, I'm not going to mention the figure, but Gary walked up and just went, "Oh, great." And he comes in and he went, "There you go, enjoy your tea." And I went, and I thought he'd give me money for chips on my arm. Do you know what I mean? I thought I were getting the fish and chip money for bus on my arm, and I went, "No, Gary, the gate receipt, this is..." Anyway, I learned at the next meeting when I told the story to the rest of the chairman, they all were like, "Who counts crowd?" And I were like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, and it was obviously a bit of a joke that I'd got this. I should have printed it. To this day, I'd said it'd have been the... I actually rang Nigel, right? Nigel Woodward, the thing. I can remember ringing Nigel, going, "What the earth, hell? We've just turned out, it's cost me $4,000 to get here and this, that, and then..." And he said, "It's early rounds, Craig, if you get that big tie." And you were right, we drew Hull. Sorry, we drew Widnes in the last 32. And Widnes came and we got a crowd of about 1,400 and it made up for it. And this is why I've asked Mick to say that is, we've got to change in rugby league. Them crowds are appalling. The figures are going up. I think we're getting some good figures.
Yeah. Channel 4 are happy. Premier Sports are happy with the viewing figures.
And a lot of people, but we've got to get people to games. Mick, that split's got to be right. It's got to be. We've got to make sure we get the best days. You know, that we're not televising it to get the crowd out there. Please, you know, the game day experiences. Mick, all the clubs have got to get better.
Correct.
Everybody knows that. That crowd, on an average, is probably 4,000 for a sport. That's the average to it. If you went through every division and said, probably less, probably 3,000.
Yeah.
So on average, a rugby league games in this country, in all three divisions, gets 3,000. That is not a premier sport in the UK, and that's the reason why we're a struggling sport, and that's the reason there's got to be changes. I know we all love the traditionalist. You're going to get fans from everywhere going, "Well, you can't believe..." No, stop it now. They've got to stop it, Mick, and they've got to look at the future. And they've got to stop being negative and say, we've got to change the format, got to get more people to games, got to make it more razzmatazz. And the biggest thing of all, we've always said on this show, Mick, they've got to unleash the players. They've got to make superstars of our players. They've got to do something, which I'm trying to help at at my company. I'm trying to help. But we've got to get them lads out there, Mick, on the world stage, because we've said it that many times, it's boring. People, individuals, make superstars of the sport. I've just watched the LA Laker document. Have you seen it? Documentary?
I've not seen it, no.
Amazing. But Magic Johnson, imagine coming in and your franchise is 60 million in debt. And then Magic Johnson walks in at 21-year-old with that lovely big smile and demands, and it explodes. They were selling out for 2 years early to get a ticket to the hottest. And do you know what I learned, Mick? I learned this in Chicago. Went to Chicago to watch the Bulls. So excited. Me, Joe, we all went and get there, and it was unbelievable. But the crowd wasn't that. And the town were beautiful, but it was. And I said to the taxi driver, "What was it like when Jordan and the Bulls were..." He went, "Mate, you were 2 years to get a ticket here, son." Every restaurant was sold out. Every hotel was sold out. Taxi drivers were getting tipped $200 just to get them near. So it didn't just... It did the full town. So everyone were booking from all over the world to go to Chicago. There were 200. He said there were 200 deep to get in restaurants.
Wow. So
that's what a franchise can do. Yeah. You in it in your own way. You might... Fond memories of the Bulls when everyone talks about when you came on Sky and you had all the razzmatazz horses and everyone were... And you were watching Leslie... And it was amazing. People remember that to this day. There's not a lot of that going off, is there?
There isn't.
Do you not?
No, look, like I said,
name a superstar in rugby league.
To name a superstar in rugby league right here, right now.
Sam?
Our producer can't name one. He's talking about Luke, are we talking a current player or
yeah, or you could walk in a pub and mention the no.
Rob Burrow for one, Danny Maguire. You're probably Robbie Paul because of his media presence on the BBC. You're probably looking at them. Jamie Peacock, Kevin Sinfield. A lot of those teams that have been successful. Sean Long, would he get recognised? I don't think he would. Chris Joynt, a famous St Helens player, would he get recognised? I don't think he would. Lezo Vanicolo, potentially. Sean Edwards certainly would. Rugby league great.
They wouldn't make. They'll only get recognised in
Jason Robinson would.
Jason would, but all them.
Kevin would. Rob Barrow.
Kevin, But let me tell you, I'm in Portugal last week, and there's a mixture of lads from different fields, solicitors, whatever. And this guy sat with me and went, mate, I love rugby league. He said, I watch it on telly. So I've never thought I'd go to a game. He went, yeah, what happened to rugby league? He said, yeah, I watched a bit, so he would cross over in watching rugby league. And then he went, what happened to rugby league? I went, what do you mean, what's happened to it? We've got 25 games this weekend. We've got 25 amateur games, junior games. And he went, all right. And I was like, so you've skipped across it on thing, but you're not following it like you did. Yeah. And then say what happened to it. I thought we're really demeaning. I was like, are we that bad now? Like you're saying what's happened to rugby league. So come on, get the figures up. We've got to change.
Well, look. It's no secret that potentially IMG are going to come in and
subject to your opinion.
This is all my opinion. So this is nothing to do with Craig. This is my opinion. If anyone's watching this, feel free to agree with me or disagree. But look, my opinion on, and you've just mentioned a friend in Portugal. You know, he used to watch rugby league. He's like, what's happened to it? What's happened to it? And it's been a year-on-year decline. And without being too critical of people at the Rugby Football League and people at the top, without mentioning any names.
Yeah, we're not.
The IMG sort of investment proposal is basically this, Craig. And I hope people listen to what I'm saying here. Again, purely my opinion. But, you know, the deal is what it is. It is going to be the Rugby Football League effectively selling off the farmland, the real estate of the sport to try and fix things and run the sport properly. And this isn't something that's just happened overnight. You know, to me, as somebody who is fully ingrained and immersed in this sport of rugby league, this is something that has happened for a decade, probably longer, Craig. We've gradually seen a very slow and steady decline of a sport that is very close to my heart and your heart, and a sport that we love. And the more people that you meet in Portugal or in the pubs, and like, I used to go watch Super League, I used to go watch the Bulls, I used to go watch the Rhinos, I've turned my back on it. It's heartbreaking, it's gut-wrenching, because it does affect you mentally when you care about something. So when we're talking about, you know, what are IMG going to come in and potentially control? Well, they're going to control commercial growth, they're going to control marketing, they're going to control sponsorship, they're going to take control of the broadcast deal negotiations, and that's going to come all under their remit as part of this deal, which effectively is going to see the Rugby Football League and the executive board at the RFL selling off a chunk of the sports real estate, farmland, to sort of like, you know, cover, in my opinion, what has been a bit of a dereliction of duty in terms of the sport's steady and slow decline. And I don't want this to come across as being negative. I'm only saying it as it is, when you look at what's potentially at play here and what's at stake. Because what has transpired in reality, Craig, is there's been a year-on-year decline in those key areas at the RFL, in commercial growth, in marketing, in sponsorship, and the broadcast deal. And I know there was the split with Robert Elston, the famous split 4 years ago. Super League are to blame just as much as the RFL when we talk about the year-on-year decline. And the icing on the cake is that the Rugby League structure and performance has also sort of digressed in all of this, because we had something, in my opinion, that was working, which was the middle eights, which give the top 4 teams in the championship realistic hope of promotion. Yes, you had a lot of jeopardy with those 4 Super League teams potentially going down and being replaced. But what we saw from Sky and the broadcast figures was Sky wanted that. They love that jeopardy. It's ingrained in British culture, promotion and relegation. They don't want broadcasters don't want closed shops. Look what's happened with the Rugby Union Premiership this year. You know, no one's going down. You know, you've got Bath, Worcester, Newcastle at the bottom. It's like there's no excitement because there's a safety net. When you had the middle eights, you know, Sky paid the 40 million. They were happy with that because that was bringing in the viewing figures. Now we've got the loop fixtures and everything. It's a shadow of its former self. But effectively, what I'm trying to say, Craig, is because the RFL and Super League have done such a poor job at growing the sport, selling the sport, when you look at commercial growth, marketing, sponsorship, negotiations on broadcast deals, effectively, in layman's terms, what's happened in the last decade is it's like the RFL, they've taken a perfectly good ship, let's call it the QE2 ocean liner, and we've gone sailing through the warm temperate waters of Tahiti, and basically they've renamed her the Titanic, and they've basically sailed her, this beautiful vessel, into iceberg-infested waters, and I don't know why you're laughing, Craig, because it's quite distressing, but we've gone from warm temperate waters...
It's turned into a poem.
Craig, seriously, under the stewardship of the RFL and Super League, and I've got a lot of respect for people on both sides who are good friends of mine, but I'm saying it as it is when we're looking at the declining commercial growth, the declining marketing, the sponsorship. You talk about the marketing of the players, Craig. It's non-existent. It's non-existent.
Well, it is what it is.
Before the show, we've just gone on YouTube looking for previews of this Challenge Cup. There's stuff on Super League, stuff on the RFL. They've got 500, 700 views, and they've been on there for 7 days. It's heartbreaking. Tom Briscoe, who famously scored those 5 tries, he's done an interview talking about what it means, to appear in a Challenge Cup final. And it's had like 400 views. And what I'm trying to say, Craig, is it is like the RFL and Super League. They've taken a fantastic ocean liner like the QE2. We've gone from those warm temperate waters of Tahiti. We're now in the iceberg. We're now in the iceberg, freezing North Sea, Atlantic Ocean. And somebody has just gone, right, we're going to go full steam ahead into all these icebergs. And now, because we've cocked up and we've made such a mess of the sport, we're now having to actually say to IMG, here's 25% of our sport, take it, you can have that 25%, you come in, do our jobs better than what we've done and try and turn it around. I know that might sound harsh. People watching this, please let me know, am I right? Am I talking absolute bollocks? Am I talking crap? But no, listen, I care about this sport. I care passionately about the sport. And what I'm saying is, in the last decade, under multiple leadership, and we've had people, we're not just blaming the people at the top.
It's the clubs and everybody.
We're blaming everybody. Yes, we're blaming everybody. We've taken this beautiful vessel. We've gone from warm...
Oh, no, we haven't done Tahiti again.
We've gone from warm waters in Tahiti into freezing cold, iceberg-laden
He's rolled this down and he thinks he's been stood in mirror last night going Tahiti.
It's like full steam ahead. Here we go. This is the sport of rugby league. We're all on the ship. Let's go full steam ahead into these icebergs and see what happens. Craig, I know we want to be positive about the sport, and I know I've probably spent a little bit too long on this.
You've been good.
But look, hopefully the passion comes through, because I am sick to death of the sport making bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. We've got a situation on Saturday. They've not even reached 20,000 sales for Ellen Road. Please, if you've not watched the sort of the plea from me and Craig that's gone out on social media this week, and you're watching this before Saturday, buy a ticket to that game at Ellen Road. But again, you've got to twist and turn the narrative on the marketing at the RFL. Where is that media presence? Where's the marketing?
Probably got no money, Mick, to do it. If I'll be honest, sticking up for it. They've probably got no budget within the game to go and smash it out, which makes me say they should use innovation. They should use the players. The players are the best marketing tool. We won't release the players. Is that full fat coke, Mick? I thought you were on diet.
It's what you give me. So.
No, I never give a thing. Is the budget, but the players are the best marketing tool. The clubs have got to release the players, not be scared that the players are going to ask for more money, because the more famous they get, the clubs don't want that to happen. It's no secret. Kills me. That kills me.
Craig, it's no secret. We would love Lewis Dodd to come here. Saints won't release him.
Well, they might. I might ask.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. But I get you. A lot of them are not allowed to do the certain things because it turns their heads. It doesn't. Let me tell you. And here's one for you. Here's another marketing thing I learned this week, and we should all be learning. Our Steph started watching football, and I couldn't work out why she was watching football. So she's ringing me and going, Dad, this, Dad, I'm watching this, Dad, I'm watching that. Will you take me to Man U? And I thought it because she fancied the footballers, which she does. There's no doubt she does. But I said to our Joe the other day, I said, where did our Steph get into it? And he said, Sorry. Have you got a comment? They're both laughing. What's happened?
I'll tell you later.
I'm not being used to doing that. And then
our producer Sam has just said the competition how many times? Guess how many times Mick's gonna say the RFL have taken the ship from sailing in the warm waters of time into the frosty coldness.
We could do that,
of those iceberg-infested waters.
So Steph, I said to Joe, why Steph? And Steph said, Dad, do you know how she got into it? I went, what? He went, she watched a gaming competition. And it was the Man United centre forward. It was, they had 5 players playing live, gaming. They put it on YouTube, whatever. And there were millions watched it. And Steph walked up and sat with Joe, watched it and said, wow, they're good looking lads, smart, trendy, watch, all this. And he said, the footballers, they play for this, Matt. That's what got her interest in it. And I was like, why can't we do that? With Jack Walker's nearly a professional gamer. We've got the players to go and do it, get the RFL to organise it, get loads of marketing. We could have done a Challenge Cup gaming competition. Put it out there all week saying the winner gets free tickets to Challenge Cup, free tickets.
Well, you could do Morgan Smithy's Morgan Knowles, get them up on Rugby League Live, and there we go. And
I'm saying but broadcast it live. I mean, they but I think we've got to be innovated. We've got to do things like that, and it shocked me when I thought, wow. And then I was babysitting for my friend's Huey on Saturday, and I said to he's 9, is you? I said he played at Edinley last week on the pitch at half time. Just got into rugby league with, I think, is it Edinley Hawks? Or it's
Edinley Hawks,
it's a local team.
Yeah.
And I said to him, what his hobbies? We've gone out for a game of football, we've had a game of rugby, we're having crack. And then he's like, and he was watching, and I need to get my head around this. He was watching YouTube of somebody gaming. So he's not playing. And I said, how many is on there? He said 16 million. I said, 16 million people have watched that clip. He went, yeah. Of somebody. So if I play a game now,
that's where it's at, Craig. That's where
I must be over. And so he didn't take his eyes off it.
There's vloggers, there's streamers, there's Twitch, gaming channels.
And let me finish. Boxing are reaching out to Jake Paul now. He's reversed it on them. They can't wait to be stood with him because his media is that big. It's bigger than them. They said the other day there's a guy who was a blogger. He could buy any PLC in United Kingdom. You understand what I'm saying to you? This kid could buy the royal family. He's got 800 million worth. And I'm like, Joe was telling me his name, and I read him. I'm like, oh my God, please, Rugby League, reach out for a gamer. Find somebody who likes Rugby League. Think of what they're doing. If they can bring people. Eddie Hearn nailed Jake Paul, nailed him. The UFC, Dana, nailed him. Both. Dana's on podcast last week of his brothers 2 weeks, whatever. They're all engaging it because you know what they're doing, Mick? They're looking for the next thing and they're grabbing it and saying, come and help us promote our sport. What's the next thing? You know what we're doing? We'll get a gamer in 10 years. Yeah. Hey, why don't we get one of them gamers to come on and say something nice and do a live gaming? Get on it now. Smash it now. Get the clubs to do it. We can't keep blaming RFL, Mick, if the clubs are as bad.
That's
the
what
clubs
I'm saying.
are as bad.
This is, Craig. This is what I'm trying to say. I'm not this...
What would you say this week if they say Saints only sell 3,000 tickets, Huddersfield 1,500, OKR 3,000-4,000 and Wigan 4-5, whatever, and then rest are made up of fans from Leeds and round the sport? Would you blame? You've got to blame the clubs for that. But what are they doing?
This is what I tried to explain to Simon Johnson when we spoke and we did an interview, and I'm going to try and transfer it to Sam so it can get put out on YouTube because it's about 25 minutes long. I try to explain to Simon, is there actually any notion at the RFL what the Super League split's done? Because like you've just made a good point there, Craig. Huddersfield take 1,500, Hull K take 4,000, Saints take 3,000, Wigan take 4,000. Traditionally, the Challenge Cup, semi-finals, for something like this, a triple header, that should have your Featherstone fans, your Hull FC fans,
all the
Bradford
rest.
fans, your Halifax fans, buzzing, we'll go watch this. But this is the thing I tried to say.
Rhinos should do loads on it.
But the problem is, Craig, because you've had the split and it's kind of seen as a selfish split, like elitism versus, the upper class of Super League versus the working class of the Championship and League One, it has disillusioned a high proportion of the support. And this is the problem.
Mick,
this is the problem the sport has. No, Craig, seriously, this is the problem the sport has now. How do you get Bradford and Featherstone and Halifax fans to go support something at Ellen Road? You won't, because there's a mentality. I go to championship grounds week in, week out, sometimes 2 or 3 games if they don't clash, and I'm picking it up. I'm picking it up.
But mate,
people do not care about
let
the
me
Super
challenge
League.
you on that. That age you're on about will be a 50 to 60-year-old. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Doesn't matter how
because
old they
historically, let me finish.
That split has alienated.
You're not letting me say it. Historically, they'll have a lot of baggage that'll be carried for 25 years, and that's what's held the sport back. Oh, when you did that, when you never promoted Hunslet in '68, I bloody never forgot. No, Mick. What's going to help our sport is the new brigade. They won't come with that baggage. We've got to look forward. We can't keep protecting if we keep bringing politics in it and politics. That's not going to sell tickets. Only thing's going to sell tickets is looking forward, and how do we get these younger people into our game quickly? Because we're missing out on something. Do you know what? If they only get 16, 20,000, here's me. Go and get all the universities and colleges in the UK and give them free. And don't let fans moan, well, pay ticket, why should you get it free? Because they're saving sport. Go to every college, university, say, and do something something else because that's going to be televised all around the world. And if you've got empty seats at Ellen Road for a Challenge Cup semi-final, we have got big problems, as we have been done last 3 years at Wembley, when that crowd's got worse and worse and worse. And I were brought up on it, Mick, bus front pub to Challenge Cup. Everybody, I can remember our village, Challenge Cup day, everyone were getting on buses and beers. That's history. You've got to find how you get these other people coming in. Now, maybe every sport's been affected by not people wanting to go out as much. We know that, don't we? We've got to all admit that. But the viewing figures should go up. If they're sitting in house and watching it, do we get more for the TV deal? Is that worth more to us than people turning up? So I'll ask you that question. So I can get Challenge Cup gets 1 million, 2 million views. So Challenge Cup then, let me finish. They then want to support our sport for the next 5 years and put 5 million. Or is getting that full house more important to our sport or the figures? What's more important, the supporters or the figures?
What's more important is the broadcast deal, because effectively what funds and keeps rugby league as a professional sport is the broadcast deal, Craig.
Wow.
Without the £24 million, don't forget we've lost 16 million because we've gone from the warm waters of Tahiti into the iceberg-infested waters. We've lost 16 million. So that's what I'm saying.
So the
Craig.
figures, so we're saying...
Yeah, the broadcast
empty
deal,
stadium against the figures on the TV, the figures is more important on Saturday.
110%, yes.
Wow.
110%, yes.
Wow.
Yes. 110%, because even if you were to pack out and sell out the stadiums, that would not equate to the money.
A fraction of that.
In. No, we're not. You might get close, but for Rugby League to start selling out 20,000 at Hull FC, 20,000 at Wigan every week, it's not...
Does it affect the viewing if you're watching it? We're anoraks, forget about us, we watch Rugby League.
Yeah.
If I'm watching sport and stadium's half full, do I want to keep watching it because it's a really good game? Am I bothered about how much crowd's in? Are you?
Well, no, because you watch...
You put ice hockey on tomorrow and stadium's half empty, but game's good. Are you watching
you'd probably notice subconsciously, like, why ain't this stadium full if the product on the field and the game is exciting and it's end-to-end and the result is in doubt? Yeah, you know, there's no perfect end to the story.
Sam, you go to a boxing event and it's half full, but the views are massive. Where do you see it?
You do need the atmosphere. Yeah.
So here's one for you then. And we're going on. How do boxing just managed to get 90,000 in Wembley Stadium for a boxing fight?
Because they built that narrative, haven't they, around Tyson Fury and his story. He's been everywhere.
Good,
you know, you get a rugby league player.
You're right, mate.
You get a rugby league player with a similar story. Like, I've watched the interview with Corey Johnson, absolutely fantastic. You know,
Corey Hall,
sorry. It was fantastic. You know, you're talking about his upbringing.
Amazing.
That. You know, why hasn't Wakefield done anything like that?
Well, don't be saying that because we don't want to get...
We're not trying to...
Well, here's one for you. Read some of the comments we got on the YouTube, which I thought need reading out. We did a one-on-one thing with Corey. It's on YouTube if you want to look at it. Show Me the Money TV Rugby. And it was just about his life and how he's got to this stage. He's a smart young lad. I think he's 19 still or 20. He spoke so eloquently and we got a lot of feedback. Mick will just read out a few, but maybe this helped. Maybe what Mick's saying, narrative. The UFC are clever, Sam, aren't they? They'll spend... I watch day 1, day 2, day 3. You build up to a fight. It's every time I flick my phone on YouTube, I've got UFC build-up fight, build-up fight, build-up fight. So they're building it up all week on your phone and on your narrative. So you get it. So these... Go on, mate, you just read out.
So yeah, Nick Chidlow, 2 days ago, great video, some really good insight. My son plays centre for his under-11s team and gets fed up sometimes as he feels he does not get a lot of ball. I have been talking to him about taking up more carries, which Corey highlighted and went into some useful detail about. My son has watched this video and will learn a great lot from it.
Wow.
The Yorkshire Trinity, this was quality. Watched it with my 14-year-old who plays rugby league. Great story and such an inspiration for my lad.
Wow.
Craig, this is what I'm saying.
This
is what we're trying to do at Show Me the Money Rugby League TV. We're trying to get the players, give them a voice, give them exposure. Emma says, great in-depth interview with Corey Hall. Great interview. Nice to see more into a rugby player's life, which we do not seem to get. And a young lad letting go and letting us in his story and rugby pathway.
Wow.
Michael Atkinson, nice to hear the pathway of how Corey got into Wakefield and rugby league. I know the fans loved him and Lewis as well, and hope they can both keep injury free. Kirsty Burton says, what an exciting young prospect, well-spoken young man, going well, and Wakefield for us this season. Plenty more to come from him for sure. 101 Get Started says, great interview. Sean says, fantastic interview. Keep these interviews coming. Badger says, enjoyed this. The players are obviously comfortable talking to Craig. Please keep up this format and give us more rugby league player interviews. Rugby league owner saying top stuff. Look, Craig, like I say,
and it just so we're being honest, Mick. We've only just started doing the Show with the Money TV, putting a lot more time into it.
Yeah.
We did the Twitters before, we did the social media, but we didn't really have a YouTube platform and subscription. But we've, just for us doing this journey we're on, and I'm hoping to get Sam for more hours and we get to some games and commentaries and do more player profiles. And I'm actually going to do some individual coaching sessions where Paul McShane's going to come down, we film it, and it goes out to us. So we're going to really mix it up. But hopefully you'll learn how we grow. So we started off with 500 subscribers, but now I think nearly 900. Sam's looked at me. Over 8. So that's it. So that's improved. We're open. Our target's 5 or 10,000. We're thinking big. I think Corey's last week for our first ever players thing I think we're on 600 views. Sam's looking at me. Think that we've got 1,200 on the YouTube, but we've only started doing this from the days of getting 20,000 views on the Proper
Facebook,
Sport.
yeah.
But that was through 7 social media platforms. We're concentrating on one. So if you're at, share our journey with us. You know, we'll do it live. We're doing things live here. Hopefully, next year we'll talk here. We've got 5,000 views a time, and see if we can do it. If we can do it with our budget and our time, anybody can do it. So we'll actually put in practice, Mick and Sam and Joe and all, and we'll see where we take it. And hopefully we take it somewhere. But more content, you've hit the nail on the head. That's probably it. I've just thought, I got up this morning, there's a big fight UFC at weekend.
But that is
Justin Gaethje and Oliveira. And I can't, all morning, I just get them things, and it's in my face. And they've got content. You're right, mate. You've nailed it.
It is, Craig. And like I say, going back to the point, and we are going to go on to all the comments and questions you've asked me and Craig this week, so we haven't forgot those. But, you know, when we're talking about commercial growth, marketing, sponsorship, those players getting their media profile out there, I can't say it enough. It does feel like over the last decade, there has been a huge failure between Super League and the Rugby Football League. And I know that certain... Like, if you're looking at like youth culture now, and we're talking about streamers, and we're talking about people watching YouTube rather than going to games and playing on Xbox and PlayStation, we've talked about this time and time again on this show. It's how Rugby League finds that happy medium with whatever finance it has available to try and cut through and break through. Because, you know, I'm almost certain once you start targeting certain demographics and age groups, you know, you can reverse this decline. Because I don't want to keep going about temperate waters of Tahiti, Craig, but effectively, what is going to happen with IMG, and this is what pains me the most, is we are going to give IMG 25%. Here you go, IMG, because we've cocked the sport up. You're a professional. You're a professional company. You've won so many awards with what you've done for other sports and other companies. We're giving you 25% because we've made a cock up and ballsed it all up. You turn it around for us.
But again, we'll look positive.
I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be positive.
We've attracted one of the biggest media companies in the world.
I agree.
And do you know the first thing they'll do? Do you want me to tell you? They'll get the players at the front of the team. They will make superstars.
I hope so, Craig, because...
Well, they might make you a superstar. I've heard.
We want that ship back in them warm waters. We want to be going to Tahiti. Yeah. We don't want to be eating icebergs and sinking, and then the £24 million broadcast deal is down to 20, and we're on even more life support. The sports and life support at the minute.
But like I said, we've attracted them. Let's be positive. Let's not keep draining it. We've attracted somebody to give it a go, and hopefully they can come in. They've worked with some of the biggest stars and biggest companies all over the world, and they could be the saviour of sport. So I am all for it. I am all for it. And anything they need us to do or any help, we've done it. I had that conversation 15 months ago.
No, you did.
With the guy who rang me from IMG, and I gave him all my pointers, and I said, listen, this is what you're going to get through to get anywhere. I was asked by the RFL who I talked to. I told him, I said, I thought it were great that they're going to come and try and get interested in the sport. I'm all for it, Mick. Looking forward. Full stop. Yes.
There we go. Yeah.
Right. I want to get a story of the top now.
Well, can't we do some questions?
You're on.
Yeah.
You're on the boss.
Kirsty says, Craig, what do you think to Lee signing Blake Ferguson? Do you think he'll be a great signing for them? Are basically Lee and Featherstone going down the poop or bust route?
We talked about it last week. It's not for me, Mick. I've got Lewis Roberts there. I'd rather be talking about a young player who's going to stay in sport. I think it's small splash.
Yeah.
And that's not against Derek and Mark. We said last week, what a pair of characters. Both putting the money where their mouth is. They can do what they want. They're the bosses. They've stayed in the game more than most chairmen.
Yeah.
They've backed both the clubs.
Yeah.
Mark Campbell, what he's done at Featherstone.
Unbelievable.
Absolute honour. And Derek, what he does week in. So I'm all for it. But that's not for me.
Yeah, and just a quick one, Kirsty. If you look at these players, like I say, Derek's still got one from the NRL to come. Featherstone still have another to come in from the NRL. They're only 1 year deals. So by the fact and the motion, they are 1 year deals, tells me that there's going to be no sort of collateral damage if Lee or Featherstone don't go up, because it'll be, thank you very much, Blake. Thank you very much. You've tried your best. We've not gone up. Move on. So that's the best way of describing it. Steve Riley says, Mick, Craig, are you hearing any names of coaches putting their names forward to be the Bradford Bulls head coach? Richard Marshall, Paul Anderson, Brian Noble. I'll try and answer this one.
Is this Grandad Day? We asked that last week. You talked about Brian. Is that from last week?
No, it was posted 19 hours ago, as was Kirsty's.
Said Brian Noble around the club and that question.
Yeah, no, Brian has been in and around the club. Whether or not Brian wants to take a hands-on role, I can't comment on that. All I can quickly say on the Bradford Bulls recruitment for the head coach is Bradford played, certainly for the first 55 minutes on Sunday against Whitehaven, the best rugby league of the season. But you kind of get that knock-on effect when you've got a new coach coming in. And I know Mark's been at the club, and but he effectively, he wants to stamp his authority on it. And what's quite interesting up there, Craig, because I was up there on Thursday. I know we recorded the show last Wednesday, or was it? I can't remember when we recorded the show last week. But when I was up there, it's little subtle changes, like in the past, prior to John Kay coming in, you've been at Tong. You go through the doors at Tong, the first room on the right, like a cafeteria. That's now been turned back into like the games room. So you got the pool table, you got the ping pong tables. So it's more of a relaxing environment, which it wasn't under John Keir. So Mark stamping his authority and making little changes. Like I said last week, Steve, I don't think there's going to be an immediate announcement. I think Nigel's going to give Mark time. And I think Mark probably deserves a bit of time.
He does.
Because he's been there 6-7 years. And what sort of a message did he say to Mark? And look, Bradford, let's not beat about the bush. Bradford are a historic big club. They are one of the big 7 clubs who the RFL and IMG know are capable of attracting a 10,000 crowd and over 1 million views when they're on terrestrial television. These are hard facts. Bradford are one of the big 7, along with Leeds, St Helens, Hull FC, Warrington, Bradford, Leeds, of course. Bradford are one of those big 7 clubs, even now after what's gone on. So they are a big name. There's still a lot of untapped potential at Bradford. They're still averaging over 4,000 fans on average. That's in the Championship. Look,
but Mick, I think Mark deserves a crack. I think he'll get a crack because budget-wise,
yes,
you're not going to go up this year.
No.
So they've actually said that. So Mark can stabilise, look for some players, give Nigel a lot of information he can use at a later date and say, look, whether I get this job or not, I'd keep them, I won't keep them. Problem is somebody's going to recruit for next year.
Correct.
And your problem is if you don't make Mark the coach, you've got to then decide when to go for it. Because if you're left, like a lot of them do with the players in September, you're probably getting the players nobody else wants.
Yes, and what I would just say finally on Bradford, you've made a very valid point, and I did say this to Nigel Wood on Sunday at Whitehaven when we were sat down having our cheese and chips or whatever it was.
Big mates, I know you're big mates.
Oh, can I just say thank you to Andy Canavan as well and the Whitehaven directors. So, Craig, I was up there on Sunday. I'd had a bit of a late night on the Saturday, so we've gone up in the car to Whitehaven. I've got there. I've had no breakfast because I was rushing around in the morning, getting picked up, getting taxis from here, there, and everywhere, trying to find my commentary equipment. But anyway, I made it in the car, and we've gone straight up. We've stopped off at TV services, and I'm like, "How much is a sausage roll?" It's like $6.99. I'm like, "You can go to well. I'm not paying that." I thought I'll wait till I get to Whitehaven, and I'll get something to eat in ground. Got to ground, Craig. Honestly, I don't know what were going on in Whitehaven Harbour, but I was heartbroken. I was crestfallen. I says to Andy, one of the directors, I says, "Where's the burger van?" He says, "Oh, Mick," he says, "there's no burger van. They've let us down." I'm like, "You what?" He's like, "Where's the food?" He's like, "We ain't got none." So because there was an under-16s game beforehand, there was like a stall, and they had all the like hot dogs and onions and sandwiches. So I've gone over and I'm like, "Oh, how much for a hot dog?" She says, "Oh, sorry, we can't sell these. These are for kiddies." And I went heartbroken again. So bless Andy, went in hospitality, sat with Nigel and co, lovely cheese pie and chips. But like I said to Nigel, the problem that Bradford have got is 1st of May was Sunday. 1st of May has been and gone now. We are now in that period where under-contracted players, out of contract at the end of the year, can talk to other clubs, can potentially start to receive fresh offers through agents like yourself. When I say time really isn't of the essence for appointing the head coach, it probably isn't. But in terms of the recruitment, as long as Nigel has his head screwed on, and this will be the same at Widnes, by the way, and this will be the same at Hulkinston Rovers, because Hulkinston Rovers still haven't announced their new head coach to replace Tony Smith, albeit Craig has an inkling who it might be.
No. Well, I can stop that. But LKR, I think, will carry on their recruiting.
Yes.
I don't think they'll wait.
Yes.
I think that'll be done.
So Neil will recruit the club.
It's not Neil Port, I think they will.
Yeah.
I think Bradford, you've got to decide whether you're going to do that. I would.
Yeah.
I'd say regardless of the coach, this is our brand.
Yeah.
And do it. But that's my opinion. Me and Fordy argued about this. So he rang up to me after we watched the last week's show and said,
James Ford.
Yeah, I like what Joe said to you. He argued that not having somebody doing director of football against the coach, every time you swap a coach, it can reverse that way. That was my policy. He agreed with Joe and said, no, he likes to have a big input on what he recruits. But he agreed with what I said about the scouting, that there isn't no scouting anymore. There's not people out there. It doesn't happen anymore.
No, that's correct. I agree.
I've had a lot of people texting me saying the same thing. So,
well, Craig, look, the amount of under-16s academy games we go, 5 years ago, we were at Dudley Hill watching a young Lewis Dodds, a young Jake Truman, a young Rowan Milnes, and there were scouts from Wigan.
Well, the amateur game, there's still some great amateur players. I think Super League don't watch enough Championship, they watch more, but they only watch ones that are on TV.
Correct.
I just think that needs changing. Mick, I saw a lad the other day, and I'm not going to mention his name because I watched him play, and he's Super League, and I know he's Super League. And I went to reach out to look and say, look, mate, I don't know why you've missed the boat. There'll be a story. But your story, let me know because I think I can help you. I'd already made 2 phone calls to Super League and said, if I get this lad, you need to seriously look at him. I think he could be fantastic. A bit like we've done with the young lad at Cass, Kieran Hudson.
Yes.
Who you watched this week.
Who was at Whitehaven.
Mickey's going to be some player. Get ready.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Kieran was when he come on wearing shirt number 21.
You're building blocks.
Yeah,
you get me.
He was very
Mickey's
instrumental.
21. You're building blocks, and when you get to 6 block, which will be September, full time in 5 months, he'll start his pre-season next year. He'll be on block 7.
Listen,
you watch what happens.
Kieran Hudson when he come on. Listen, fantastic, Craig. Really impressive. He was part of that Whitehaven comeback. Bradford obviously getting the Mark Dunning era underway. But in terms of recruitment, then obviously Phil Finney at Widnes, Nigel Wood at Bradford, they're going to have to make a decision pretty sharpish. If they're going to, because Widnes have still not appointed any coach, Bradford, I think, are going to give Mark another 2 or 3 games.
Do you think John Duffy will come back to Widnes?
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I think so.
But Bradford's an interesting one. To answer the question, and a lot of people are saying, would Brian Noble come back? I'm not so sure. I think Brian would have to trust Nigel implicitly on where the club is heading before Brian would even consider coming back. Yes, Brian Noble has been in and around the club, and yes, he was at the Featherstone game taking notes on players. Look, Brian will just say it as it is. He's there in an unofficial capacity, helping behind the scenes. But in terms of your Richard Marshalls, somebody who knows the Championship, oh boy, But then if Mark, and this is the interesting from a Bradford perspective, because we know we get a lot of people watching the show from Bradford. What happens if, like, a week time when Bradford play York, which is a huge game after what York did against Barrow? York are on this 6-game unbeaten run now. Mark gets the result against York. Bradford are then back in contention for that top 3. They then play Newcastle the week after, and Mark gets another result, and all of a sudden, hard to judge Mark and how he's going to see the Bulls playing after one game. But in that first 55 minutes, Craig, the passing there, the pizzazz, the flair.
Mick Mark will get all year. Because budget-wise it'll be, and he deserves a crack.
Yeah.
He deserves a chance, and if he doesn't make it, he can show people how good he is. He then decides, does he stay as a 2?
Yeah.
Or if he feels pissed off that he don't get the 1, he could go to another club because he's shown people.
Correct.
So it's a great time for Mark.
Yeah. Pete Wood says, Craig, Mick, what's your opinion on Simon Griggs? He's been relatively successful in a short space of time. Challenge Cup semi-final for a Championship club. 3rd in the league on half the budget of what Featherstone and Toulouse were spending in 2021. If James Ford is, as Craig keeps saying, Mourinho, who is Griggs in the footballing world?
I think he's doing great.
Listen, I'm a good friend.
And he rollicked me on Monday because I woke up to a text saying
that
you quoted him. And I said, whoa. One, he's not my mate. 2...
Simon, we know you watch the show. So we know you watch the show. I would just like to offer you an apology. I think he's accepted the apology. But look, I'm not going into too much detail.
No, don't.
But listen, when you cover these games in the Championship and you speak to directors, you speak to kitmen, you speak to players, you hear all sorts of this player's coming, that player's coming. So, but yeah, on Simon Griggs, and like I say, I did apologise to him, and I'll apologise again, Simon. We are good friends. Look, what Simon's doing there, and they're now on this 4-game unbeaten run. I didn't get up to Newcastle on Saturday, but they've had a 30 points to 10 win away against Newcastle. That's now put Halifax firmly in that top sort of 6. They've got 12 points. They're at 60% for the season, and like I say, I saw enough against Barrow when the sun's shining, the pitch is dry. Halifax, on any given day, will challenge Featherstone and Leigh. Halifax, like York, are a real serious dark horse for, potentially disrupting where Leigh and Featherstone are potentially going to end up. You've got to look at your Lewis Shoefrases, your Joe Keys, your Woodburn Halls. He's assembled a very, very clever and very clinical, attacking-wise, rugby league team. Yes, there were some defensive frailties, which I believe Simon wasn't happy about against Barrow, but they're going to come in an 80-minute game, and like John Kieran, Mark Dunning, and everybody I've spoken to, James Ford will be one of these, Craig. You're never going to see it at Championship. You might get it rarely in Super League, but at Championship level, you're never going to get an 80-minute performance. It is impossible, because somebody will throw a forward pass, somebody will knock on. You might get 90%, 95%, but you're never going to get 100% performance.
They're not, but they're striving. Yeah, they're striving for it. And your Greeks is back to your question. The Greeks is in the Fords.
What they've done with their budget. What they've done with their budget
and
is
young,
phenomenal.
give them a chance.
And the young, yes.
Give them a chance.
And that's where I hope Bradford goes. I hope that, look, a lot of people are going, let's get a Paul Anderson, let's get an Aussie in, Brian Noble. Listen, I think Bradford need to go, and this is probably the same for Widnes. You need to go young. Look at James Ford, Simon Griggs. Look what those two coaches are doing at Halifax and York. That's your template.
If you watch a game of rugby 20 years ago and watch one now, it's a different game.
Correct.
So unless you come along with this modern game, you can't coach the modern game. You can't do the things they used to do. the ruck's too fast to play some of the skill level they did 20 years ago. There's certain things happening in the game that you might not even have a clue about. That's your scary one. Let me tell you, that's scary. So you need a young person, vibe, to understand the modern game. The game, again, Mick, I still sit in crowd at rugby and they go, offside! And they still do the same thing they've been doing for 25 years. You know, they still think it's a 5 metre. They don't, half the stuff they talk about in the game, I go, that's 1992, what you're saying there, you're still miles off where, you know, why can't we do this, why can't we do that? It's another game, it's a modern game. But we've got the boppers on the way, so we've got to finish. You can have one more question, Mick, and then I'll pick a top out. Get a good one.
Oh, dearie me, there's more asking about updates on this. Emma, we'll give it to you because you are...
We're not live here, so aren't we?
No, we're not live. It's been recorded to go out live.
Ah.
Emma says, I'll tell you what. Here we go. Emma, I'll ask your question next week. Jason says, is it worth Super League going to 14 and Toulouse being exempt, Craig? There's a gap open up in the Championship. We'll put in Fev and Lee up, help attendances for York, Halifax, etc. Basically, what Jason's saying is, should we protect Toulouse like Catalans were protected when they first got into Super League and they had that 3-year exemption?
Yes. I think we've got to growth areas. We've got to go to growth areas. Unfortunately, whether you like it or not, we've got to go to places where we think we can sell out. They don't offer nothing TV-wise. Neither do Catalans. They don't bring away fans. That's where they've got to improve. They've got to improve because they're not, you know, I suppose Sky don't want them. Sky probably don't bother because they don't have Sky this year. Do they have Sky in France?
No, they don't. That's
so
that's
Sky
the
have
worry,
always, yeah.
That's the worry and concern.
So we're growing a place where we can grow the crowd. What you've said earlier on, we're not growing the viewing figures because they don't have Sky. So they've got to do something about. There's got to be something done about that. Yeah. Can that happen? And where it can be? Can Sky sell the French games to a TV media company who then want to take it on, where they can get some money back? I think that's what's got to happen a bit before. Yeah. We've got to protect the clubs that can grow. We've got to protect. We can't go boom and bust. We've got to protect the clubs that can grow. If you can show you can get to 8,000 fans with a new stadium, with a vibrant town and a vibrant city, you've got to be in with a chance. Now their job, as in Newcastle and York's, is make sure they perform on the field alongside what everyone thinks is attractive. But then it's no good if you crap on field. If you're not making waves on the field. So, yes, answer to your question, protect. Anybody that can grow into you've got to protect.
And Jason, what I think will happen, and again, it's probably going to come out next month because the more I'm picking up from Championship chairman and CEOs from those at Super League I speak to, is something is going to happen. They're going to have to decide on the 210s because obviously IMG are looking at the restructuring, the process of realignment started. I'm hearing 210s. Championship chairman want 210s. It's how we get there. And sadly, we have run out of a little bit of time, but we could talk a bit more about it next week. But look, just before Craig picks a shirt.
Well, you're picking one up. I'm going to talk.
All right. Well, Craig's
We've got
gonna
another 25 over there. So.
Craig's going to pick a... I'm going to pick a shirt and Craig's going to say, but just if you get us the Oxen thing again, Craig, don't forget, we want your predictions for the Women's Challenge Cup Final, Leeds St Helens, and we're also giving away this, obviously, Oxen, England suppliers, so without opening it up, you're going to get a lovely shirt and shorts. If you want Big Bopper David Fafita to sign it, he might just sign the card, that way you don't lose the shirt and the shorts. But look, it's a fantastic gift. We're giving it away. All we want is correct predictions, the Women's Challenge Cup Final, Wigan St Helens, and then Huddersfield and Ulkison Rovers.
And you've got to be subscribed.
You've got to subscribe because anybody who puts a comment and they're not subscribed, it's null and void.
And please, if you get in, I've started doing it. I don't know if the lads are in my WhatsApps. Every time Sam produces the show and puts it on the content, I share it in all my groups. Yeah. Please help us. Share.
Drive those subscriptions.
I got 2 people last week who said they watched the show for the first time, and this is true, there were CEOs of big clubs, and I'd sent it to them and for first time, and they both said, mate, great content, absolutely loved it. One of them pulled me up and said, you didn't say something too positive about the club. I said, I did. It's just the way we tell the truth. We say it honest.
Yeah, we tell the truth.
It's not a dig. It's just where I were at that moment. Please watch the other shows to see how much.
Exactly. With Positive Rugby League, we want a positive change. And for the final time before we pick a shirt, we want to be back in them temperate waters of Tahiti. We want the sport to grow.
He's had a bet with somebody, hasn't he? That's 7.
I have not had a bet with anybody.
Pick your top.
Right. Oh, yeah, don't forget you can watch me playing basketball. I said
Jomi's going to be devastated. Jomi has not been seen since this happened, so this is a preview. Sam's going to put it out today, I think. It's a preview. The Bopper will do the basketball challenge against me today again, but I got 3 out of 5. But the Mick v Joe is one of the best 3-minute clips of basketball I've ever seen. I'll give you a clue how Mick threw it. With 2 hands, a little bit of a different technique. Joe may look like, Michael Jordan.
What's wrong with throwing it like that?
Well, 2 hands is very hard.
You told me you've got to get behind.
No.
Oh, did I throw it with 2 hands?
Yeah. I thought you were praying, I thought you
A lot of people said it was
I thought
good
you saw the
technique.
Lord. I thought you were, whatever. Right, we've picked your top.
Right, I'm looking here. Oh, no, if I pick this one, it's going to be too heartbreaking. I'll go with... I don't know what this one is, but we're going to go with this one.
Let's have a look.
Who is it?
This hasn't been signed.
Oh.
So this is a St. Helens top.
It's from the Challenge Cup final.
It is. And it was given to me by Mr. Mike Rush, who was the CEO. So, listen, we said we'd talk, quick one. I think Saints are probably the number 1 club in the country now, on and off the field.
For the template, yeah.
I think the top 5 in the world, Mick, at the moment, Saints, what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think it's remarkable. I've heard this week that they've managed to keep a few players they've been trying to keep her out of contract. I don't know what the Matty Lee's things is, but if they keep him, they're keeping the squad together. I've got 3 players personally there, Mick, which I didn't have for a long time, but I get on now. With the lad I think is going to be a superstar, Lewis Dodds. We've also got Juma, who is a winger, going to be a special player, really good, and a really exciting athlete. And then I've got a young prop who I think, and without putting pressure on him, and it's for... We've just done some negotiations. It's not down to Saints to whatever. And Mike's going to tell me off, and I'll probably get told off by everybody. This lad excites me more than most players.
What's his name?
George Delaney. And
if
you go on our YouTube,
I've
have a look, he's on the YouTube, the clips. But this kid's leg speed and size and athleticism is... Gonna be as high as you get, in my opinion. And he's a good listener. He's from a good family, and he's got an heart like a lion. But get ready. Remember the name. You've heard it on here.
You've just said proper. I've seen him in the back row playing 11, 12.
It doesn't matter. Honestly, he's that good.
I know. I've seen him play for St. Helens Academy against Bradford.
I went quiet when I first saw him. And a big thank you to Andy Dodds. Shout out to Lewis' dad. It's him who told me to, you can have a look at this kid. Yeah. He excites me, Mick, more than most.
Wow.
He's got everything
to be
and very humble.
Yeah.
But you know what, Mick? And I'm not putting him at this level because he's got Michael Tellier and Wolfie. They've got to do so much work with him, and he's got to stay grounded, and we'll give it all the cliches. But the carry I seen him do, Mick, I've not seen a carry like that since I went to Leeds. And I was first at Leeds probably 16 years ago. And I saw a young man take a carry when I just started watching rugby league. And I'd never seen a carry like it. And he played back row, I think, then. My memories, whatever. Yeah. But the leg speed and the aggression into contact.
Wow.
And it was Adrian Morley.
Wow.
The legs. And Morley could have played, his leg speed were that good. But I think George has got a great chance.
No pressure, George.
No. By the way, there ain't no pressure.
I know.
Because let me tell you, the culture at Saints is that good. They don't let them get big-headed.
And they don't feel pressure.
They just produce great. Is it the best place in the world to become a better player? So, Mr. Rush, good luck this weekend.
You're back Wigan by 8.
I'm back Wigan by 8. Sorry about that, Mike. Hope you all have a good time, but I'd say at the moment you're the flag bearer for all the clubs in the country on and off the field.
Yeah.
Done.
Lewis, by the way, your question about the Super League and the franchises, Joe's not here, but if he's back next week, we will ask that. So apologies. I know he's a fan of the show, and he'll be like, Mick, you've not asked me a question again, but Joe's not here. We want Joe here because Joe's lived in America, and he can tell us a little bit about the franchises and the licences. And obviously, with that poor crowd for Wakefield versus Huddersfield of just over 3,000, the question, another question what got asked is like when you look at like Cass, Featherstone, Wakefield, Batley, Dewsbury, you've got a big... you've only got a conurbation of about 350,000 people, and you've got 5 or 6 clubs all around trying to tap into the same fan base. If IMG come on board, if IMG come on board and they're going to try and steer the ship into warmer waters, then they're going to have to look at this game-wide review and decide, do we want 5 or 6 clubs in a catchment area of 350,000? Is that going to grow the sport? And the harsh reality and the answer to that is no. But we can discuss that on the next show. Thank you for supporting us. Don't forget to subscribe. Show Me the Money, Rugby League on YouTube. To win the shirt, whether you want it signed or not, just predict the winners from the 3 games. Will it be St Helens or Leeds in the Women's Challenge Cup final? Will it be Saints or Wigan in semi-final?
It's not the shirt, make it shorts. We think it's socks. We think
socks,
it's a vest.
It's a full kit. It's a full kit, vest, shirt, shorts. Listen, whoever wins it, you're in for a treat. So from myself and Craig, good night, God bless, or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And don't forget, keep it #positive Rugby League. I know we've been a little bit open and honest about some of the games' ills on this show. And next week we'll be back with a full preview of what is promising to be a fantastic competition in the Super League. The Championship's about to hit round 11 next Sunday at Odsall, Bradford, York. That is huge. 2 teams who really bring out the best in each other. In fact, we might see if we can get Fordy and Mark Dunning on there. That'd be good to get them on to preview that game. But yeah, look, fantastic entertainment. Let's hope Ellen Road is rocking and the Rugby League is the winner. Good night, God bless. Keep it #positive Rugby League.